Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're here at Money 2020 in Amsterdam. Joining me now in the press lounge to talk about the crypto space is Marina Khaustova from Crystal Blockchain. Marina, thank you very much for taking the time out of the busy event to come and join us in the press lounge.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here today.
Really good to have you on. And now before we get into the detail around the crypto space and blockchain, it'd be great if we could hear a bit more about Crystal Blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Crystal Blockchain is a blockchain analytics company. We are based in Amsterdam. We also have offices in London and Kiev in Ukraine. And we deliver compliance and investigative solutions for digital assets. Those are being used for financial institutions around the world.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so let's get into the detail
Absolutely,
then.
yeah.
How do you think the crypto space can become more AML compliant? And do you think we're seeing an eagerness within the community to do so?
Well, the crypto space is evolving really fast, and we already see a problem where regulators are trying to catch up with what's happening. But crypto space itself should be on the forefront of these efforts, and they should make additional effort, on educating their compliance teams, on bringing their attention onto what's happening and on the latest developments in the industry, and that allows them again to watch after the trends. And this is what I'm going to be speaking later today on the stage, like what trends in money laundering are happening now. What do we expect to see in the upcoming year? Compliance teams around the world need to watch that very closely and be ready for that already now, and that helps companies maintain their AML policies in shape. Regarding the eagerness, to adopt that, while some companies may be not super happy about additional tightening regulations and new rules implied, etc., everyone's united in their desire, to protect their business and the industry from the bad actors, because we see that rise of the interest to the digital assets is very much correlating with the rise of the activity from various hackers and people who initiate security breaches. So those people try to launder funds through also like cryptocurrency exchanges and other financial institutions. Those companies, of course, they're very interested in protecting this space and making sure that we are designing a future which is not suitable for such kind of bad actors and such.
Sure, exactly, and regulation really is at the heart of those discussions, isn't it? So how are you seeing crypto regulations evolve, and how are we seeing sanctions impact this space?
Well, this year we see enormous activity happening on various levels, on the global level and on the local territories and countries who stepped into this area a while ago. We see that regulations are being applied and being changed and becoming much stricter on the various levels, from top level to local countries who actually stepped into the area of digital assets and adopting digital assets a while ago. So, for example, Financial Action Task Force, they have been releasing their guidance for digital assets for several years now in a row. And every year they actually made it much more precise, much more definitive, and they were trying to actually normalize the approach that financial institutions and compliance teams should be taking towards cryptocurrencies with their approach to traditional finance. But, for example, this year FATF says that a huge number of the FATF members actually did not apply this guidance to the extent that was expected, and that is not only happening in relation to particular policies that need to be adopted by these companies, but also for new developments like travel rule. So they are actually warning everyone that they're going to be much more stricter in the upcoming years. So on the global level, we of course see much more attention paid to cryptocurrencies now. On the local levels, some countries and some governments are becoming much more friendlier, but also not evenly, for all the audiences that they might see. Recent proposal for the United States says that there should not be any tax from the transactions less than $200, for example, which is a huge step towards the mass adoption of cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency maybe really become mainstream, in these areas. So that's a huge progression further. But along with that, there are discussions about special treatment and risk assessment for uncustodial wallets, etc. So again, it's a little bit uneven, and it's happening quite fast at this moment. Sanctions, of course, they add speed to all this process. And of course, especially after the war has started, the Russian-Ukrainian war, we see a lot of effort applied for sanctioned entities to take out the funds through cryptocurrencies, of course. But again, sanction lists are getting updated now with the cryptocurrency addresses as well, and with the tools like Crystal Blockchain, it's possible for you to actually watch how the funds related to certain entities are moving across the chain. So I would say that in general, sanctions as an event, that we see, happening as of recently in a very active phase. Of course, it speeds up all the developments, but as itself, it's easier to track out sanctioned entities rather than, for example, stolen funds that are being laundered through particular tools and services.
No, it's a fascinating and indeed complex topic, isn't it? And really good to get the backstory there as well. Thank you very much for that. And I want to talk a bit about blockchain analytics as well. How can those blockchain analytics be built into those business models, and what does this space hold?
Well, blockchain analytics is, can be applied to so many business models at once. We basically look at all the transactions that are listed within the blockchain ledger, and of course, blockchain was designed, to be transparent and immutable. And if you look into this, data ledger, you would see a lot of transactions and a lot of data associated with them. But we call that, primordial soup of data. You can't make much sense out of it unless you apply certain optics. But the moment you do that, you can make so many conclusions and actionable insights, out of that. So compliance is the first application for that, of course. It's possible, again, to understand who you're dealing with, who your customers and users are actually dealing with, and how the funds are basically changing the owners in real time. But along with that, again, there are other applications for that. Investigation is one of those. Security companies are very, very interested in also helping people and entities who are victims from security breaches or ransomware attacks. And of course, that is also an important part of this space. It's a very heated question at this moment. Yeah. Along with that, of course, that gives you a lot of insights on the business level, like, observing, how your users are interacting with other counterparties and how they're moving their assets again across the chain. That might help financial institutions to actually, make their business models much more precise and again have additional input, additional information to act upon.
Well, Marina, I think it's safe to say watch this space. As I said, an incredibly intricate and complex subject, but you've really done well to shed light on it. Thank you very much for sharing your insights. I'll let you get back to the event.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.